Hello, this is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And I wonder how many of you recognize this radio. Yeah, it's a Tecsun. And I've done several shows about it, did a full review and everything. Think about it. What do you think it is? Yep, it's a PL-660. This is one of my favorite portable shortwave radios because it's got a lot of features. It works very well. Well, today we're going to go back in time a little bit to its big brother. And we're going to move it over here a little bit out of the way and bring its big brother over here, which I just got this past week because it's on sale right now on Amazon for $75. So through one of my subscribers, I got a gift certificate, and I purchased it for review. So here it is, the Tecsun PL-600. Now, there's a few shows ago, I did a review of its sister, which is the 606, which doesn't have single sideband. This radio has single sideband. So what we're going to do today to start off with is I'm just going to do kind of a comparison. Now let me just check something real quick. Bear with me. I should have done this before I started the show. Okay, the 600 is on sale for $75. The 660 is on sale for $121. So there's the difference, about $45 difference, $50 difference. So we're going to compare the two, keeping in mind there's a $50 difference, and this is, the 600 is newer technology. Now, the 600 has been out for a while too, but not as long as the, I probably mixed the numbers up a billion times. So just remember, the 600 is over here and the 660 is here. So if I switch the numbers, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now let me go back so I can see my webcam. So where I'm pointing, probably been pointing to the floor all this time. Okay. Try to get them both in the picture here. Got my nice background. I was struggling trying to get a background that would show these radios up better, and I ended up using a pillowcase. Oh gosh, well, moving right on. So what I did is I printed out from the manuals the list of features of the two radios, and I've got them reversed. Okay, this is the features of the 600, and this is the features of the 660. And I'm going to kind of go down those real quickly. Now, of course, you could do this yourself, but that probably wouldn't be as much fun as watching me make a fool of myself going through this list of features. So we're going to kind of try to do a side-by-side comparison. So we'll start with the 600. It says it receives FM and shortwave and medium wave. Also down here, it mentions that it receives long wave. Okay, now if we come over here to what's the difference and what's the other $50 get you on the 660. The 660 has FM, medium wave, long wave, short wave, and single sideband, and the airband. So that's the difference there, is the 660, for the extra money, you get that extra airband. You saw my review. I wasn't too impressed with the airband capabilities. A cheap scanner radio does much better than putting airband in a shortwave radio. That's just my opinion and my experience. Okay, let's go on. See what else we got in. Going back to the 600, it has 1 kilohertz tuning steps on medium wave and short wave. Let's see if it mentions that over here. It doesn't mention it over on this one, but I'm sure that's the case. Okay. It has a dual conversion receiver. It's funny how they don't list the same things, but I'm pretty sure the 600 has a dual band. Now remember the 660 has dual band reception also. Now remember the 600 came out about a year or two before the 660. So keep that in mind. So most of the stuff in the 660 was retained in the 600. I'm going to do this 1,000 times, mix up those two numbers. So bear with me. And don't give me a comment because I know I messed up. Oh boy, what a day. They both have ATS, but the ATS on the 660 works in shortwave band, doesn't work on the 600. So that's something they added. Automatic tuning system, it's called. Manual tuning, auto scan tuning, they both have that. Direct keypad entry, they both have keypads for direct entry. The 600, this guy right here, has 600 memories. The 660 has 2,000. Not 660, but it's got 2,000. Plus it has to have some more because it has memory allocated for the airband. Okay. And let's see if anything else jumps out me. Direct access, sleep function, they both have sleep function. 2 timers, snooze function, they both have that. AM, FM stereo, they both have that. They both have backlight. Now this one says, my memory's not that good. The 600 says it has a built-in nickel metal hydride battery charger. I don't think the 660 has that. Which, like I said before, I really don't like to charge batteries in the radio because you're liable to forget, and you know, most of the battery chargers they have built in nowadays are pretty smart, so they won't overcharge. But you still could have a failure when it's charging a rechargeable battery and mess up the inside of your radio. So I wouldn't even use that feature. I don't use that feature. Okay. Let's see, anything else? See, a lot of things are not really mentioned in these feature lists. So we're going to kind of look at the radios and see what we see as far as features that one has, doesn't the other. Now, the one feature that I always like is a backlight that stays on. And both of them have that capability. And you can tell it's going to stay on because if you press and hold the light button, the light will come on, it'll blink once, and then it'll stay on. So they both have that feature. Now they'll go off because I don't have the radio on. If I had the radio on, the backlight should stay on. Now let's just test that on the, see, it stayed on the 660. It went off, even though both of them are off. It went off on the 600 plus, yeah, okay. So let's just try turning it on, the 600. Okay, it's on now, and the backlight is on. Now let's see if it stays on. We'll give it about 10 seconds, and I'll get a drink. And it stays on. Now, I just made a liar out of myself because the 660 finally went off. Now let's turn it on. The backlight comes on. And it went off. Now let's push and hold. It blinked once. Now we'll see if it's going to stay on. Kind of covered up so that. Matter of fact, let me turn. I got quite a bit of light on right here. Let me turn some of the lights off. Okay, it's on. We gave it about see, this one stayed on. This is staying on. And we turn one more light off for a second because this appears that this one is brighter, but it's kind because this light's on this one. Now this went off. Okay, I thought the 660 the light stayed on. It didn't. I learned something here. It stayed on for quite a while, and that may be what had fooled me before, but it didn't stay on. Oh, I know one reason it may not stay on this the 660 is I'm not using the AC adapter. I am using it on the 600. That could be the difference. Now that's another thing. Let me see if they use the same 6 volts in and 6 volts in. So they use the same adapter. So I'm going to turn this one off now that we've shown that the backlight does stay on. Okay, I turned it off, and I'm going to steal the adapter, AC adapter, and I'm going to put it on the 660 and see if that will keep the backlight on. Okay, now turn it on. Well, actually, I turned it off because it was on. And I'm going to push and hold the backlight. Let me turn this light off. Blinks once. Now let's see if it'll stay on. And it makes sense because that backlight, it uses a lot of power. And if you're on batteries, it's going to heat up your batteries pretty quickly. We'll give it a couple more seconds to see if it's going to stay on. Like I say, I really like that feature, especially if I got it on an AC adapter. No, it didn't stay on. So that's a difference. That's a feature that we've lost. Now, the radio's off, so let me try one more try. And I'm going to turn the radio on. The radio's on now. Backlight came on because I turned it on. Backlight went back off. Real quickly, it went back off. I'll push and hold. It blinked once. Now we'll see if it's going to stay on. I didn't mean for this review to be a review of the backlight. Gee whiz. Give it a couple more seconds because it did appear, and it kind of faked me out there because it stayed on quite a while when I push and held the backlight button. So I thought it was going to stay on, and it doesn't stay on. I don't want to have to investigate that. I thought it would stay on, but it's not staying on. Maybe there's some option I have to go in and change. You know, that's the thing about these two radios is they have a lot of options. They have options that you can go in to the system menu and change. So let's turn this off for a second. And I don't have any batteries in the 600, so I got to use the AC adapter. And when I do the reception testing, I'll make sure they either both have batteries or they're both on AC, so that's not another variable. So let's turn some lights back on, even though it's kind of hot in here, and let's just look around, see what else we can see. That's the I spent 15 minutes on the backlights, and the kind of layout of the buttons is very similar. We have these buttons down the side on both of them, and we have some buttons here and here, and then we have the keypad here and the keypad here. The 660 is a little larger, not much, but it's a little larger. I would guess speaker is about the same size. The display is a little different, and this is a little more square. It's not square by any means, but it's a little higher than the 660. 660 is a little shorter in height, I'll call it. So that's a little difference. The numbers, even though this is a little bigger, look like about the same size. They might be a little bigger. So that's one thing that by doing this side-by-side comparison, I would have guessed is that if I looked at this radio and then a couple of days later looked at this radio, I would have said the displays are the same size. Well, they're not. And I think we just proved, unless there's some other hidden function that you can turn that backlight on permanently, I think this backlight stays on, or has the option to stay on all the time when the radio is on. There's a number of keys up here, little buttons up here. Same thing on this radio. I think, let's see. Let me move the camera a little bit because it's in my way. I can't see. Okay, it's about the same. The little buttons here that drive me crazy because they're so small are square versus round on this radio. Big deal. But the thing I want to point out is that these buttons are little because they're rounded. If you've got a fat finger like mine, it's kind of hard to push them down. You know, to get down in that groove to get them pushed down. Where these are square and they're a little easier for me to push down. So minor, but not a big deal. We have up and down buttons here as far as the frequency, and these are also, if you push and hold, then it will auto scan on the 600. Oh, one thing that I see, I was looking at the writing on here, and let me move the camera back. Down here, and the reason it caught my eye is because they got SSB in big letters here to make sure you know that this radio has single sideband capability. Well, this one of its key factors and what you're paying the extra money for is it has synchronous detector to help tune in those signals that are fading in and out. So that's a feature that this radio has and its predecessor, the 600, does not have. So that's another delta that $45 to $50 is buying you. And I would just taking a gander at these and not thinking about those little nits and differences. That's probably the biggest delta between these two radios, is that this radio has the synchronous detector circuit. Let's see if there's anything else that's obvious. Got bandwidth on the side. Well, both radios have on the side, they have external antenna jacks. That's, to me, that's another plus. They both have antenna gain. Matter of fact, the writing on the side is exactly the same. They both have tone control, headphones, and the power input. So all the connections and options on the side here are identical between the two radios. On this side, you have 3 knobs: tuning knob, BFO knob, and volume. On the 600, you have exactly the same. So they're exactly the same. Like I say, this one has 600 memories. This has, what was some kind of 1,000? What was it? Let me look at the sheet here. 2,000. Now, I don't know how you'd ever use 2,000. I don't know how you'd use 600. So, to me, that's not a big deal. Now, I'm sure the actual function of the radio, when you're using the radio and you're doing different things, I'm going to find a number of differences, but they're all probably going to be minor. Today I'm just looking at the overall differences. They both have a built-in telescopic antenna that looks identical. Same length, same diameter, all the same. Let me see if there's anything on the back that strikes me being different. This uses 4 AA batteries. I don't know if I mentioned the frequency range, especially let's talk about the shortwave. On the 660, it's 1.711 megahertz to 2.999 megahertz. So it's a whole shortwave band. And let's see what the 600 says on the back of it. There goes my beautiful little stage. It says, oops, let me put the antenna down before I break it off. I always fear breaking these little fragile antennas off. Okay. Boy, they've got an extensive listing, and it won't show up on the camera, bands and international bands, but the shortwave band is exactly the same. So it's exactly the same band, 1.7 to 30 megahertz. So that's the same. So I'm guessing that in general, these radios are going to work about the same. And when I do the full review of the 600, I'll point out anything that I found that's different that I haven't mentioned here. So I think overall, besides the additional memories in the 660, the synchronous detection circuit is different. Possibly some of the filters, the bandwidths are different, but I'm guessing they're probably not different. I think that's about it overall. So to me, I've never been really impressed with the synchronous detection circuits. Sony was I believe, one of the first that came out with it, that made it popular anyway. And their radio, the first radios that they came out with it in, it worked very good. Since then, I have never heard any radios, of the newer radios, that do a very good job. Now, that being said, the 660 of the newer radios does about the best job. Now, the Tecsun 880, which is even newer and even more expensive, to me, the radios that I had, the synchronous detection circuit, didn't work hardly at all. Usually, they made things worse. So I'm not really into using the synchronous detector circuit. Other people use it and they love it. It's just, I'm not impressed with it. So if that's the big difference, I would say the 600 is a much better buy. At $75 versus almost $125, I would say it's the better buy. And it's on sale right now. And that was one of the reasons that the gentleman purchased this for me, or gave me a credit to purchase it, is because it was on sale. It was a good deal. So anyway, I can see I'll be doing some more detailed reviews of the 600. I'll do my little report card and go through this radio and give you some more details about the radio. But I just wanted to give you this overview as a starting point, but then we'll do the detailed reviews, and then we'll do a side-by-side reception test and see if there's any difference. I have the feeling you're not going to see a lot of difference, excluding the fact that this has the synchronous detect circuit. So that's the show. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.